Third down and 20.
We are on to running backs. I'll speed run through them real quick and let you all know. Cowboys, Zeke Elliott, run back 15 on keep trade cut. Tony Pollard, 35. Rico Dowdle, not ranked. Miles Sanders, run back 22. Boston Scott, 87. Kerryon Johnson, 84. Kenneth Gainwell, actually 43, the rookie. Jordan Howard, no longer ranked. Rest in peace. Antonio Gibson, run back 8. J.D. McKissick, 51. Peyton Barber, not ranked. Lamar Miller, also rest in peace, not ranked. Jarrett Patterson, the rookie, 78. And then the Giants, Saquon Barkley, running back 3. Devontae Booker, 95. Gary Brightwell, not ranked. All right. Again, I'll throw the topics out here. I think when you look at each team, right, is this Zeke's last year? Is Miles Sanders actually running back 22? And is Kenny Gainwell or Kerryon Johnson a threat to him or his touches? Is Antonio Gibson the real deal? Like, is he going to have touchdown regression? And that, like, and can Saquon finally be healthy? So, where do you guys want to start?
Take it from the top, baby. Let's do Zeke, the tough one.
All right. Is it Zeke's last year?
No.
I was doing a deep dive into Tony Pollard recently, kind of a little off topic, and I originally thought Tony Pollard was better than what I now think he is. I think Tony Pollard.
What made you lower your stance on him?
Oh, Jake's got a big O. He is over. Oh, Jake and I actually have him as the most overrated. I just think when you look at the Cowboys' run game and you look at what Zeke Elliott can normally do versus what Tony Pollard just kind of comes in and does, like, it's clear that there's a reason why Zeke was considered the generational talent. I just don't think Tony Pollard is it. And I think even if he could somehow, management falls in love with him and he out snaps Zeke Elliott, I don't think he's the long-term solution. So I kind of just hijacked this, but Tony Pollard being running back 35 does seem kind of crazy to me.
That does seem high.
There is no way he outsnaps Zeke without an injury to Zeke. There is no shot.
No, he's not going to outsnap Zeke.
There is no shot.
Well,
Let's
yeah,
put that out there.
I agree. It's just like in a world where he does, I still don't think he's the. I think
the Tony Pollard hype is behind not this season, but next year. Do the Cowboys keep Zeke? That's pretty much what.
Even if they don't keep, listen. If they don't keep Zeke because he's on a monster contract and he's a running back at going to be 27, I think, or 26 or 27 next year. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but he's aging running back on a monster deal. Obviously, people are going to say he can be a cap casualty. I understand that. But even if he's gone, Tony Pollard is not sliding into the workhorse back. I will guarantee that. That is a guarantee. They will add another running back, whether that's a vet in free agency, just to split carries, whether that's a rookie in the draft, whether that's both. If Zeke's gone, Tony Pollard is not the guy, and people are pretending like he is, and that's why he's ranked running back 35. That is crazy. That is crazy high for a guy that's a backup running back.
Jake,
I understand.
I can't believe we're so strongly aligned on this one. I don't know if that should scare us or not, but I agree completely. Yeah.
I like Pollard. I think let's just say Zeke isn't on the Cowboys next year. I think they could bring someone in. I don't think he's going to be a workhorse or anything. I think he can be a guy who gets this is with no Zeke, who gets 15, 16 touches between catches and runs. I thought he looked good when he filled in for Zeke last year. I know their O-line isn't getting any younger. Which that
not getting any better. Their O-line low-key isn't good anymore.
It's not the same at all. Because they're all aging. They're all getting old.
Or retired.
Yeah.
They're broken.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. They're pretty bad. They're pretty bad, actually.
Their warranty is up.
I still think that Tony Pollard's the backup to own, though, simply because as a Zeke owner, I don't trust Zeke anymore. I agree with you guys, actually, that I think Tony Pollard's overrated because people are starting to buy him like he can take over.
And that's the reason why he's not the backup to own. Yeah, sure. And that's just like how you have to own Madison if you're a Dalvin Cook owner. That doesn't make
Madison fucking blows.
And that's the same argument I just had.
Pollard's better than Madison. But I do like Madison.
If Pollard will score more points as a backup than Madison would if Dalvin Cook was hurt.
All right, now you're out of.
That's just false. But anyway,
that is false.
You want to know why? Because Madison wouldn't fucking play. He's trash.
Oh, Kenny.
Madison has been pretty.
I actually do like Ngwangwu, or I don't even know how to say his name, but
Ngwangwu.
So we're gonna
move on before we get slandered for murdering this guy's name. Let's just go down the list. I think the next one up is the Eagles.
No. We kind of copped it. We turned the Zeke thing into a Tony Pollard thing.
We did.
What's going on with Zeke?
My fault.
There are just so many running backs that I would feel more comfortable owning than Ezekiel.
Yeah, but very few have the high upside that Zeke has. Even in the first 5 weeks with Dak, he was playing unbelievable. I don't think you can discredit that.
I think Zeke will be a top. I mean, I definitely think Zeke will be a top 15 running back next season. But I'm saying for Dynasty, long term, I can find a lot of running backs I'd rather have over Zeke.
Sure.
Apparently, Zeke has been working out.
I fucking hope so.
Yo, I heard Lounis has been working out too.
I might take the spot. Tony Pollard's got to worry about me.
Dude, I'm scared of Zeke. I honestly, I own Zeke. We traded Zeke in our rebuild league for, relatively cheap. Dude, I think he's kind of washed. I'm just going to come here and say it.
I think he'll be productive next year, but if you watch him last season compared to his rookie year, he does not have nearly the explosiveness he did his first 2 years.
And
it's very visible.
I will say, if he comes out in the first 5 weeks of the year and is putting up monster numbers, smash the sell button.
Yes.
Just because obviously everyone knows running backs tend to hit a cliff, and it tends to be right around the age and the mileage that Zeke's running up on right now. So
people, you got to remember how many carries Zeke got, each of his first 5 seasons.
Dude, that's
a ridiculous amount of carries each year.
The thing that scares me is that
he looks different. He looks different. He's not.
He does look different.
Zeke's career is up here, and it's just been, and we're right here. We're right here. Where do you think it's gonna go? Do you really think it's gonna go whoop, or do you think it's going to woo?
You're gonna get a.
Well, you can forget about the mid-career level out before the.
No, there's gonna be a little Dak bump from just Dak being back, and it's back.
The people listening to this on podcasts are gonna have no
idea. No, you could hear in the inflection in my voice the way my hand was moving.
All right. Well, I don't know, Frank. Who would you rather have, Zeke or Mixon?
Zeke.
Mixon.
Oh,
Mixon.
See, I knew where that was going.
Oh, well, no, you asked a certified Bengal hater.
Fan. Yeah, I just want to stick to the Bengals fan again.
I'd give me Mixon.
every time.
I don't know. See, the thing is that they both have everything working against them, because Mike McCarthy sucks at running backs, but the Bengals are the Bengals. Yikes, dude.
All right. Let's move on to Miles Sanders.
I hope the Bengals win the division.
I'm going to try and do my best Lounis impression defending Miles Sanders, without actually doing a Lounis impression. I think Miles Sanders is the most underrated running back in this division, mostly because he's just taken such a huge hit from the Eagles going out and getting Kenny Gainwell and Kerryon Johnson, and I just don't think either of these guys. What?
Imagine just saying his value's taking a hit from them getting Kerryon Johnson.
Well, that's why I'm on the same page. I don't get it. That's if you track his value, that's where he's lost his value from. Is they brought in 2 other guys who
I have absolutely zero. The person who should be threatened about Kerryon Johnson is Jordan Howard as the RB4.
Kerryon Johnson
that's who should be threatened about Kerryon Johnson.
40-year-old Adrian Peterson.
I'd be surprised if he beat out Boston Scott for the RB3 spot. I think Gainwell is the handcuff to have with Miles Sanders. I'll say that to Miles Sanders owners. Gainwell is definitely the handcuff. No, I think 22. We're all in agreement there that it's a little bit underrated. He's a top 20 back to me. If you want to debate somewhere where between 10 and 20 he is, go ahead. Like JT said, the Eagles offense last year was a shit show. And as someone who watched every Eagles game, he was by far the most talented player on the offense. It was just between not giving him enough carries, the entire O-line just falling in shambles, and everyone getting hurt. He had some injuries last year, and just the offense was not gaining any traction, so there was less scoring opportunities. I think next year with Jalen Hurts, they're going to be running the ball a lot more. The O-line's back healthy. I think he'll bounce back next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfair because this time last year, like
he was viewed as like a top 12, top 10 back.
He was a top 10. He was RB7 this time.
Yeah,
last year. And you know, to now have him at a running back 22 after what was such a terrible year.
And I don't think he looked worse last year as a player. I think as a player he still looked as good. It was just the offense was worse. Like his yards per carry and production based on the touches he got was still just as good as the year before, if not better. He averaged over 5 yards per carry on the season.
His production also really increased with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback. Yeah. Also, I'm sorry, I have to drive this point home. You should be scared of this more than Kerryon Johnson.
I'm not looking at what
are you pulling up?
This is the real threat. This is the real Johnson that's a threat, not Kerryon Johnson.
What do you pull up?
If you're watching on YouTube and I feel like this meme isn't as widely known as Frank thinks it is.
I love that meme.
Is it the cat?
Yeah, the cat.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the Eagles.
What about Kenny Gainwell?
Kenny Gainwell, I think, is overrated at his price. I think he's a fine rookie, but
I think
he's going in the mid to late second in rookie drafts. I really don't think it's a bad spot.
I think I'd probably have him early third, but if you're a Sanders owner, if you own Miles Sanders, I would take him in the later half of the season.
Here's the one thing I will say about Kenneth Gainwell, and this is something that I didn't realize until recently. Kenneth Gainwell fits exactly what the Eagles were missing last year. They needed a running back who was good in the passing game and that could fucking block. Their running backs could not block anything. Dude.
To be fair, none of the offense could.
Also, I think Miles Sanders also can do that.
Okay, well, he didn't do it last year. Dude, Miles Sanders as a pass-catching back was atrocious last year. Terrible. I understand that he was good previously, but last year, for whatever reason, he was garbage.
He did have more drops last year, but I also saw last year Wentz completely overthrowing a wide open Miles Sanders.
Dude, it wasn't even that. It wasn't just drops. He was running wrong routes. He wasn't on the same page of the offense. He was fucking up. It was a disaster. I'm not saying that Miles Sanders is a bad running back. I'm just saying if you look at the Eagles film from last year, which I watched way too much of, their running backs, not just their offensive line, was a clown fiesta, an absolute clown fiesta. And a large part of that was because of Miles Sanders' work in the passing game. I like Miles Sanders. I agree he's undervalued, but you can't, just because you think that doesn't mean you can't just ignore what he showed on film last year. Kenneth Gainwell as a receiver is I think probably second of all the receiving backs this year, behind probably Najee Harris. And you can make an argument that he's better than Najee Harris as a receiver.
All right. I guess talking about receiving backs and kind of related to Kenneth Gainwell, we've got Antonio Gibson, who we actually kind of across the board say is overrated running back 8, although I don't necessarily hate it. I feel like he's the risky at where they're priced. He's the one I'd say is kind of the riskiest, just because of his touchdowns, how many touchdowns he had last year and where he finished. Is he going to have that many touchdowns this year? Who knows? That's the hardest stat to predict. My thing about Antonio Gibson, though, is we could be looking at him this time next year and being this guy is the future CMC. He can run, he can catch, he can do it all for this team. Or we could be looking at him he's potentially getting replaced. The Washington team needs a more, A-type running back, as you'd say. Go ahead, Lounis.
I think he's a top 10 back in Dynasty. And I think you're going to see – I think there's going to be less of McKissick in the passing game of more in him. I think you're going to see him get a lot more passes thrown to him.
McKissick had an insane amount of targets.
I know.
He finished with a running back 2.5 point in PPR.
Yeah, I think a lot of those are going to go to Gibson. I'm hoping that the whole toe thing isn't an issue. As Frank says, I'm not a doctor.
It is very questionable.
I'm not a doctor.
Turf toe is like
such
a nagging injury.
I don't like it, but I don't know what to think of it. So assuming he's healthy, I think he's a top 10. You could argue for that RB8 spot. He's in like a tier with a lot of those guys like Dobbins. I'd probably have him like right behind Akers. But I like him a lot. I think he's gonna be I think he'll be an RB1 next year. Back end. But not
I don't know. I had him coming into the season, I think, as like RB11 or RB12. And he hasn't done anything in the offseason to jump. If anything, like JT said, like that toe injury scares the crap out of me. That killed the tail end of LaDainian Tomlinson's career, was a big toe injury. The one thing I will say, and I didn't watch all the Washington football team tape. I only watched I think 3 or 4 games of their offense on the All-22, so I'm not necessarily an expert on this team. But a lot of those games, J.D. McKissic did seem a lot more dynamic than Antonio Gibson. Now, with that being said, Antonio Gibson really transformed his body, and I think has the potential to be that all-around RB1. It's just, can he become the whole package? Because we're going to compare him to CMC. I mean, dude, CMC is just electric with the ball in his hands. I don't really think Gibson is on that level. So I'm going to have to go overrated, but kind of on the same boat as JT, not by much.
Yeah.
And the one thing with him also, last comment, he's still fully learning how to be that kind of running back. He didn't play that role fully in college.
That's what's tough to price in is is he going to take the jump? He definitely got better as the season went on last year. I just his price has crept up for no reason. At the beginning of the offseason, he was definitely more okay, he's firmly behind Akers and Dobbins and Swift and other 2020 McGee. And now all of a sudden he's starting to creep up in the consensus value, even ahead of some of these guys. If you were to poll r/Dynasty, I think you'd get a decent amount of people that say, oh, I'd rather have Gibson than Akers, where I feel like if we were coming off the playoffs last year when Akers was really going crazy in the playoffs, it would have been consensus, everyone saying Akers.
Yeah. No, I've seen that too. I've seen people say Gibson over Dobbins.
The Akers hype train is kind of nuts.
Akers is getting a ton of hype now.
Yeah,
Antonio Gibson's getting a nice little hype train now.
That hype train's good as well. Yeah, they're 2 of the bigger ones.
I'm seeing for
all the 2020 class backs have a little fan club. I
saw this is a really small, quick side comment. I saw one of the major fantasy companies put out these are redraft rankings, but this is predicting next year's success. Akers over Jonathan Taylor.
It could be possible.
I mean, the Rams' offense, people are projecting to be unbelievable, which is why those numbers are inflated. But
this is completely off the rails, but
we'll see. We'll rank the 2020
running back. I feel is overrated, but that's just a take for another time. We're kind of running low on time. Last running back out of this group, and the one that's highest rated is Saquon. I think we're all confident that he'd be the one to maintain his value. The thing about him is just can he stay healthy? Can he be the elite level player that he is? I think when you're looking at Saquon and, just the kind of athlete that he is, he's the one that is that generational type player. He's the one I'd be the most confident of coming back from any kind of injury. Yeah. So he's the one that I have the least amount of fear or concern about him potentially playing well. I think, the argument is that the Giants got better offense. Yeah, kind of, in my opinion. It can't be much worse. And with Saquon healthy, I think they should be a fine offense. I think he'll be fine. I think he kind of can get a little underrated in startups. In normal dynasty, I think he's fine right where he is.
Ready for this?
Ready, Frank.
Clip this one for all the Bengals fans out there.
Oh, no.
Talk about the Giants.
Saquon is what the delusional Bengals fan base wants Joe Mixon to be.
Stop it. No,
who is saying Joe Mixon is Saquon?
No one is saying that. Please stop. Let's move on, JT. Let's go to Lars.
Frank spot. I fucking love you, Frank.
What? You're not even gonna let me make my argument. You just hear the title and you won't read the book.
Go ahead, Frank. Go ahead, Frank.
I actually want to hear it.
I'll let you go. But
so if we look at Saquon Barkley's ADP, he is now in dynasty drafts in Superflex leagues being drafted in the late part of the first round, where Saquon was not too long ago. I think last year he was like a late first, more so in like the early second, but you would see him sneak into the late first of drafts. He is what the Bengals fans want Joe Mixon to be. Like, PFF just came out and said the Giants have like the worst offensive line in the league, which I do not agree with whatsoever. I thought that was
one. I don't think it's a good one.
It was definitely. I think they rated him as the very last. I thought that was a group that massively improved as the season went on last year. And once Joe Judge put his magic fingers on the offensive line, all of a sudden you started to see their clown fiesta running backs that they had last year produce. Alfred Morris was averaging like 4 yards a carry.
Back from the dead.
Dude, Saquon Barkley is the most talented running back in the NFL as a pure runner. It's him and like Nick Chubb maybe. But even Saquon Barkley as an athlete, as a pure runner, is the guy. And we are going to see it this year.
Hopefully.
The stars are aligning for Saquon Barkley to explode.